thank you guys again. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I, as you can tell, was very prepared. And I don't know what's going to happen this morning because I'm feeling like just completely somewhere else. But don't worry, I'm not preaching, so you're good. But what I am here to talk about is something that is very near and dear to my heart. Something we don't usually talk about in church. And I see some wheels spinning. Oh, is it the 3-letter word that begins with S? Or the 5-letter word that begins with M? No, it's not either of those. It's about mental health. And May is Mental Health Month, so what perfect time. Did you guys know that 1 in 5 adults suffer with a mental health condition? And since COVID, that number has turned to 1 in 4. So let's look around here. There's about 300 people in this room today. And if we counted off in fours, that would 75 of us with a mental health condition. But why don't we talk about it? Why are we ashamed? Why do we feel like I'm the only one that deals with this? And it's because of stigma. But I want you to know that you are seen. I see you. This church sees you. I volunteer with an organization that's called NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, and you might have seen it in the lobby. Stop by and see me afterwards. We educate, we support, we advocate for not just people with mental health, but also their families, because it affects everyone. On May 6th, we rolled out a new program for officers. So there's 600 officers and first responders that have been trained in a crisis intervention team. And you might have seen these bracelets on the news lately. This is going to bridge the gap for when a first responder shows up to a mental health situation, a crisis, and they're going to know that that person has a mental health condition. That person is also going to know that that officer has been trained. So we are really hoping that this takes off and really helps a lot of the stuff going on in the world today. We have already distributed 5,000 of these bracelets, and we do ask, even though you guys want to show support, only the person with the mental health condition are to wear these bracelets, just so that things don't get confused. So if you are suffering with a mental health, or you know somebody that is, I have bracelets in the lobby that I am willing to give you, so make sure that you stop by. So Wendy, why do you care about mental health? Like, what's the big deal? You're hilarious, you're funny, you're fine. I really am. So you don't have mental health, like what's your problem? Well, I do. In 2014, I was diagnosed with depression, and I've been on medication ever since. Mom suffered horribly when I was a child, but it's not something we ever talked about. I don't even know if she was medicated. But there was a time when I was about 13 that I do remember she spent a week in a psychiatric ward. I also had a brother that struggled, but he decided to self-medicate with drugs. I know you guys see this fuzzy-haired kid sitting up here. Luke, stand up real quick. I know you guys see him follow me around a lot. He doesn't just follow me around because I'm cool. He's actually my nephew. His dad, my brother, took his life 1 month before he was born. And Luke's been with my family for the last 1.5 years. So as you can see, depression runs deep in my family. But since I was diagnosed, I've always been open. I've always been honest about my own mental health. But in 2018, my world crashed. I had numerous traumatic events that happened, including finding out that my oldest daughter was addicted to meth. And she lived 900 miles away in Tennessee, and as a mom, there's nothing I could do. We visited her that summer, and I had one of those motherly instincts where I knew something was wrong. And when I was hugging her goodbye, I got in a car and I said to my family, I feel like this is the last time I'm gonna see her. On May 19th, she celebrated 2 years clean. I'm sorry, my sniffers broke. So I thought that I was handling everything okay. I, was still on my medication, but until one weekend, I didn't want to get out of bed. And I knew that that was a red flag. So I told my husband. I've always been open with him. And we went to the doctor right away. My doctor changed my medication that I had been on for 4 years. And he gave me something brand new. And he gave me a 2-week sample pack with that. So when I finished the 2 weeks, I felt phenomenal. When I went to get my prescription filled, my insurance denied it. I then went a couple days with absolutely nothing, and then put on something completely different. So I was stopped, started, stopped, and started. If you know anything about these medications, you can't do that. A few days into the new medication, I started writing goodbye letters to my family. But this time it wasn't a red flag. I don't remember much of that week, but I do remember on October 3rd, I came home from work, I hugged Keith, my incredible hug, goodbye, because he was headed to work. And I remember saying that I'm just so scared, but I couldn't explain why. I had all this fear inside of me, but I didn't know why. I have such a great life, a great marriage, great kids, and a fabulous church. But it wasn't a red flag. That evening, my son, who was 18 at the time, left to go do something, and I went into my room and tried to take my own life. This was the absolute most darkest feeling I have ever felt. It just felt like the darkness was closed in on me. My son found me unconscious, and he gave me CPR. He saved my life. I'm so sorry. The guilt that I carry from that is something I carry every stinking day. Every time I look at him, I think of that. He had to give his mom CPR. Like, how stinking gross is that? But he did it. He doesn't kiss me anymore. It is an absolute miracle that I'm standing here today in front of you guys. I took so much stuff. I should not be here. I had to be Narcaned at least 4 times that we're aware of. I remember when they were bringing me from the house to the ambulance, I had a moment where I was out of my body watching everything that was happening. So I'm pretty certain I died. When I got to the hospital, my husband and my oldest brother were already there. And when they brought me in, my husband heard them say, "It's not a cardiac arrest, it's just an overdose." Can you imagine hearing that about your spouse as you're sitting there in shock because your spouse always told you if she wasn't okay? So this put me in the psych ward for a week, following right in my mom's footsteps. My life has now become before the overdose and after the overdose. But the biggest and most incredible thing that has happened is my relationship with God. He brought me out of the most darkest place. That song that says, "You picked up all my pieces and put me back together. You brought me here to rest." I just kept singing that in the psych ward. And don't get me wrong, I know that God can heal, and God will heal me. But until he does, I'm going to use this for his good. I'm going to Romans 8:28. So this is how I found NAMI, and now I advocate and I volunteer for them. I actually even quit a really good job just so I could volunteer with them. And I have a really great husband that allowed me to do that. I get to go to colleges, police stations, schools, rehabs to tell my story. Well, before this stupid COVID thing happened. I also lead a support group for those with mental health. And I am going to be starting the very first in-person group here at Providence since COVID happened. And I'm so excited about that. It's going to be the first and the third Mondays here at Providence. And there's more information out in the lobby. You can stop and talk to me. And I know it's been a long road to recovery. It hasn't been easy. But with the love and support of my friends and my family and my husband, who's never told me to just get over it, and lots of therapy, I am healing. And speaking of healing, I just want to say, when I was discharged from the hospital, I wasn't able to see a therapist for 3 months. Fortunately, Providence has an incredible soul care ministry. With this ministry, we can meet someone almost immediately. We have a team of 6 providers right now that vary in different things, different degrees, areas of inner healing, trauma, addiction, just to name a few. But we're all in our own healing together, so we walk the road with you. Angie Sunlightner leads this ministry, and she's going to be in the lobby right beside me after service. So come say hi, and thanks for letting me share.